Life skills are commonly understood as positive and adaptive skills that help us to deal effectively with everyday challenges and stresses. And why it's important for children is because the golden period of teaching children all these very important skills, right, to manage daily stresses and challenges as they're growing up, as they're adulting, who are then independent and well enabled. You really can't get a better time than that. So this largely fall into two groups. One group would be to do with interpersonal relationships. So we are looking at communication and also on emotion regulation. And the other large group would be what we call executive functioning skills. So here we're looking at short-term working memory, for example, and cognitive flexibility and also self-control. My first choice would really be emotion regulation skills. It actually also involves naming feelings, to teach children how to be more aware of their feelings and to be able to name their emotions. And then of course then to proceed to then calm themselves down using simple strategies. And actually, in the parent-child relationship, a lot of it is actually learned from modeling. So I would encourage, I myself am a parent, for us parents to be able to regulate our emotions, to be able to name our feelings first, and that way, the children will also learn alongside us. If there's one thing that I would like parents to remember is that we can make use of everyday things that we do with our children. Parents are our children's first teachers, and it starts from day one. For younger babies, teaching them life skills in the day-to-day would actually involve paying attention, having the eye contact. So even when we're changing their diapers, to be able to say, oh no, we're changing diapers now, yeah, you're feeling uncomfortable. So it may sound a bit redundant, but actually what we're doing is, remember, the baby's brain is developing. We're actually then triggering the necessary, almost wiring in the brain to fire. And that's actually how babies and children acquire language as well, which again is a very important part of interpersonal skills. As they grow older, of course, then for example, toddlers, they will love to do things. So most parents will tell you that's the time when they enthusiastically will be picking up that the mop or the broom to try to help out. So this is a time where we can actually, parents can say it's time for bed. So let's say if a toddler is starting to resist, because they say terrible twos, right? That's actually the wonderful chance for us to teach them emotion regulation skills. That's the time where I say, oh, you look as though you don't want to go to bed yet, but it is still time for bed. And then to follow through and then go through simple exercises again, maybe stomping off the anger or do something else to distract them and then going back to the routine. So all these are actually the very basic building blocks of some of the life skills that we've talked about. By the time they're in kindergarten, they actually will have more language skills, more cognitive skills. For decision making, there are actually two parts to it. So one part of it has to do with being able to express our own preference and opinion. The other part is about making a good decision, knowing that if I choose a certain action, there would be a certain consequence. First things that parents can start to think about doing is to be a little bit more intentional in, again, our day-to-day kind of activities. So if we're prepared to bring the children out for an outing, for example, we can start giving them two choices. Do you want to go to the botanic gardens or the zoo? And let's say my kindergarten age child really start to have problems with sleeping at night. Okay, so refuse to sleep until 11 o'clock. And then guess what? The next morning, woke up too late. Okay, and it's really too late for us, to go to the zoo. So that becomes actually a natural consequence for the child. I am a parent myself. First instinct is to say, oh, why did you wake up late? And instead of that, so we parents have to learn how to regulate our own feelings too, and to say calmly to the child that, well, whoopsie, we all woke up too late, and we can't go today. Okay, how about next week? By the time when they're 5 years old, there's a lot of language. They already can talk and to think for themselves. And we can then ask them, okay, so for next week, what can we do differently? What can we do to make sure that we wake up in time to go to the zoo? And of course, from the parenting perspective and in building trust, we make sure that next week we will have the time to bring them to the zoo. So all these are the things that we can do in everyday life.